Yes, hello Jaleh, hi.
Hi, nice to be here with you again.
Yes, and hello everyone. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk About It. And today is International Atheist Day. So happy Atheist Day to all. And I hope whatever you share, just remember using hashtag Atheist Day. It will help a lot to many people, not only just atheism. And I just want to say first, Jale, about this day.
Mhm.
Strangely, Atheist Day is not a day that which have been celebrated in many many years in the West. It is a very new day. A few years ago, the International Coalition of Ex-Muslims, which is also we are one part of it, Ex-Muslims of Norway, and Atheist Republic have established Atheist Day in order to normalize atheism, defend the
Yeah.
basic right to freedom from religion, and to
Yes.
stand in solidarity with the
Yes.
many persecuted for being non-believers.
Yes.
So we
And
are
of yeah.
encouraging everyone to join us every year on 23rd March.
And of course, in a free country like Norway or Denmark or other countries in the West, uh, we don't have that big of a problem with being free from religion. It's easy to be free from religion in Western countries because they are free countries, right? But even like for Muslims or for extreme Judaism or Christians, it's those communities inside. There are minorities in the West, but inside those communities, it's hard to be atheist, or even just it's just hard even doubting.
Yeah.
You cannot ask questions. You cannot even have interests for other religion. You will be prosecuted, or within the system you will have a lot of problems with the cultural I even if there is not Sharia law or other laws, you will get in trouble with your family or with your community. um, and it's not easy for people inside some of those religion.
Jale, you are right. You are right. For me, it's like being an atheist out and loud in the world, almost all over in the world, is hard. But in some places, especially the Muslim countries, especially the Muslim countries with the Islamic laws, it is much harder. It's
Mhm.
worst. Like many moderate Muslim countries, because anything you say, like if you say there is no God, no Allah, this means you are not just only proclaiming your atheism, but you are doing blasphemy. And
Mhm.
this blasphemy laws, and like they say 13 countries, but I believe more than 13, because we have no insight information about in many Muslim countries, but 10 to 13 countries have death penalty against blasphemy even today. And
Yeah.
before we will talk about Islamophobia topic, because it is like a topic. These two topics, being atheist and Islamophobia, is actually one topic too. Because, but we will talk about that. So I mean, is it is shame. It is really shame that today in 2022 that like atheists are still minority, uh, and we are still living with some ideas from Stone Age. I call like some 1,000 years ago. Some people said something, and we are following. Some people following their religion lightly. Some others following hardcore. And this stopping development of the world. I think like that. Like think about if every country fully uh, contribute to development and research and technology uh, and space where we are, what is beyond us. and like these things. And now today, only tiny minorities like NASA, SpaceX, some dictator countries have their own space and other programs, but rest of the world is just going and praying their imaginary friend, right?
I don't think it's true about the Western countries, or not. I mean, of course, in the U.S., Christianity is different than in Denmark, right? But I think also in the U.S., the recent years, Christianity has also been, how do you say? People have questioned Christianity in the recent years. For instance, with the Catholics and with other schools of Christianity, people within the religions have asked questions, right? Also in Denmark, people have asked questions: why can't homosexuals, for instance, get married in the church, and so on. So there is a development all the time within the free countries, again, because they're free countries, that is, it's possible. I don't know, in Denmark, and for a lot of people in Denmark, Christianity is more like an emotional safety net, right? So it's like, when you lose someone, you can hope that you will meet them again in an afterworld. There is a love in the community for Christmas, and it's a cultural thing more than it is a religious thing. And the religious part, the spirituality and so on of the Christianity that is very common in Denmark, is more, we believe in love, we believe in good deeds, we believe in helping others, and so on. So I don't think it's in the same way standing in the way of progress. But if you ask even those Christians or people who call themselves Christians, they cannot really answer you about the Bible and God and all of the stories in the Bible. They're more like, we have a very pragmatic relationship with our God or with the Christianity. And I think that I cannot have a problem with that kind of Christianity. But of course, Christianity is still also in the Western countries. For instance, just look at the Catholic Church. They have a lot of issues with child abuse, and also the rule that they cannot have
abortion,
they cannot be married. Abortion, but also the priests and the nuns, they cannot be married, or they cannot have sex, and they are abusing children, right? So I think that we have a lot of issues also in the West with Christianity, but also with Judaism. I think there is a lot of fundamentalists also within the religion of Judaism who stand in the way of progress, but also in the way of the happiness of their own societies, or the individual freedoms of Jews and Christians. So I think we have still a lot to. I think criticism of religion is very important. I see myself more of someone who criticizes religion than an atheist. And we were talking about this earlier, that what is atheism really, right? We don't believe in
Jaleh, about that, I'm not so like hardcore atheist, or I don't know what I will say, but the problem is, many people like because atheism being introduced as like little bit like special, like if you're atheist, then you have no morals, you have no nothing. This is like is sitting in the brain of many people. Atheism is actually only the lack of believing in a deity or a god, something, because we have no proof. And so for me is like the best possible way to explain myself. Okay, I can say I'm atheist, and this is good. If there's another term, of course I can say that too, because I don't believe because all gods, all organized religions in the world are man-made. and
And it
delusion.
doesn't make sense because
And that,
we have so
surely,
much knowledge about how things are and how the world came to be and so on. So we it's hard to believe that Jesus walked on water
yeah,
or that
but
Muhammad went
yes, and there are a
to
lot of things. Everything's happened in the same, almost same area, almost in the same some 100 years, and bullshit. Why I have to believe a man I don't know even he or she exists in the past, that what they heard from some imaginary friend. Why God
yeah,
not that doesn't talk to me
yeah.
and to you? You
And
know,
now people also think about, okay, maybe actually these prophets were on drugs.
yeah,
It's a
sure,
possibility
yeah,
that they were actually talking to someone or something because they were high, right?
yeah,
I when I meet someone who is atheist, I just think that the person is a logical person, right? Is the person that thinks very logically. But I think the prejudice against atheists, at least in the West, is, I mean, of course, in the Muslim world, we're the devil, we
yeah.
are the devil ourselves, right? We are the worst thing.
They
uh,
can't even believe how you cannot believe a God. How it is
yeah.
possible? The religious Muslims, I have met a lot of people before, not too many in these times after I'm in public. They
Yes.
say
Yes.
all the time, what? How it's possible? How it's possible to not believe Allah?
Yeah.
Example, it is
And aren't
possible.
you
Just
afraid
if people
this?
use their brain,
Yeah.
and other things. I have to say, of course, people can believe whatever they want. If they want to believe a stone, they can believe this stone, worship this stone, kiss the stone, or go around the stone, or whatever they want. But I'm actually against organized religions. So I say that still it's strange that religions have still power today in the West. Even it's not only about Islam. Some countries, like you say,
Yes.
Poland, and Russia, and
Yeah.
Greece. A lot of countries with the Catholics, Orthodox, and of course it's not Protestant countries like Denmark or Norway, but there is like they have still power, and because they are founded by states, and this is a problem. But we will not go in too much on this. You can say add something, and we will go on to Islamophobia topic, I think. And I
Yes.
agree with you.
People are.
I have no
Yes.
much so too much. I have no too much problem with many religions, because of
Yeah.
especially Christianity have been gone through with critics, with ridiculing in many 100 years, and we're calling
Yeah.
this Enlightenment age, right? We have
Yeah.
Enlightenment age
Yeah.
philosophers, and
Hmm.
so, but we have in another religion, name is
Yeah.
Islam,
Yeah.
and everybody doing giving all efforts to protect it, even
Yeah.
atheist people. Can you believe it?
Even the church, like
Yes,
we will, yeah, the church, the Jewish, the synagogues, the church, the Christian communities in Western countries are protecting Islam against criticism. We will get back to that. I just have one thing to say. I thank you for everyone saying Happy Atheist Day. People are commenting. Happy Atheist Day to you all. What also I just wanted to say about the prejudice against atheists in the West is that we are, because we don't believe in a God. A lot of people think we are very cynical, right?
right.
We don't care about people, because I do understand religion. The only time I would feel like I need a religion is when I lose somebody I love, right? When I first experienced that, I was like, I now understand religion for the first time in my life. I understood why, people. It's good. I was envying people who believe in a God, because they think, okay, then we will go to an afterlife and I will see my loved ones again, even if they're dead now. And that's a very beautiful thing, and I hope that it is like that, right? But I don't think it is, and I have no proof that it is, as you told us earlier. And also one of my family members who is Muslim, she once said, "Aren't you afraid that if God exists, then you will go to hell?" Then I said, "But why should I go to hell? I've been a good person. I've done all great things." I believe, I try to be a good person just because I want to be a good person. So if I do everything in my life to try to be a good person, why should I go to hell? Then if I believe that if there should be a God, let's say there is a God, I would hope that that God then would appreciate me having led with the kindness and being a good person towards other people. But
And
yeah.
also you just reminded me, I had a lot of friends, and still I have, of course, Muslim friends, but like hypocrite Muslim friends, like who is not practicing Islam in any way, doing everything which is forbidden in Islam, almost everything, and they say they are Muslim. And when I stand out and loud say that I'm not Muslim anymore, then one of my best friend, he's also living in the West, and he said, Cemal, you don't need to think so much, but think, if there is Allah when you die, so say that you're Muslim, do it that, like I have to be a hypocrite like him, because he's afraid. What if
Yes.
Allah is there, and when you die and you go there, so he's choosing the right one. He's not practicing, but he's believing Allah in case he exists. But this is
an insurance policy.
Yes, but this is called hypocrisy, and many Muslims, especially religious Muslims, and the other ones too, say, what if when you die and go and suddenly there is God, Allah, what you will say? Then I will say, surely, like Christian Christopher Hitchens, I will say, you didn't give me enough proof. And I choose to be not hypocrite. So I'm a good one because you didn't give me enough proof, my friend, or my God, or whatever it is.
I think being an atheist is insisting on being a logical person, right? Being like, I have a brain and I can think, and I do think, and I think about also the religious history and the theology, and it doesn't make any sense to me. That's why I'm an atheist. And I think that's what I appreciate about atheists, is that they're very logical people, but they can be good or bad. I mean, it's not a religion, right? It's not, you're not automatically a good person because you're an atheist, and of course you're not a bad person either. But you're very logical. That's what I get from people telling me they're atheists.
Okay, a lot of things I have to say, but then we go deep inside atheism. I think we have to go to the topic Islamophobia. Just a second. There is, and it was 15th of March, 1 week ago, a resolution proclaiming 15 March as the International Day to Combat Islamophobia was unanimously adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. In the same time, many countries, including US, approved bill for combating Islamophobia in the last year, with a lot of other countries, like in Norway too. In Norway, we had a bill that fighting against Islamophobia, like they did in 2 years ago, I believe. So what's happening really? What is actually Islamophobia? Jaleh,
can I read for you the organization inside the UN that has been working for Islamic values and that Organization of Islamic Cooperation. This is an organization that has been working for years inside of the UN, and this resolution was led by the work that has been done before it being before it was how do you say um, agreed upon with the General Assembly agreed upon. What do you call it? It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying. Yes. Before that happened, Pakistan and Turkey was working for this resolution to go through, right? And Pakistan, for instance, has blasphemy law, and the punishment, the penalty is death penalty, right? For for being blasphemous. And the way they define Islamophobia, this organization of Islamic cooperation that has been working inside the UN, they define it this way: Islamophobia is a combination of hate, fear, and prejudice against Islam, against Muslims, as well as against anything associated with the religion, such as mosques, Islamic centers, Holy Quran, hijab, etc. So if you look at this first sentence, I guess it is, the first sentence is about not having hatred, fear, or prejudice against Islam, not Muslims. I mean, why don't you call it Muslimophobia? If you called it Muslimophobia, then you would say, yes, don't hate Muslims. Don't just say something totally, generalized about Muslims. And even that, I think it's okay to criticize one group. Of course, you shouldn't just call them disgusting things and so on. Of course, I'm not for any racial. I think it becomes racism if you say, all Muslims are like, something bad without any. But I think it's okay to say Muslims have this problem, or Muslims could use whatever, right? But my biggest problem is that Islamophobia is defined as criticism of religion, of the religion of Islam. And this is what all the Western countries unanimously voted for in the General Assembly to adopt this resolution, and also a yearly day for against Islamophobia. This is a disgrace against freedom. This is a disgrace against democracy, human rights. And I can't believe that Denmark voted for this, and we have to.
Because I have to say, Jaleh, I have to say something, because of stupid politicians in the West have no clue about anything. They are buying very easily the Islamophobia term. Like you read it. What is wrong to criticize Islam or fear Islam? It is most reasonable things in the world to fear Islam. We have thousands reasons to fear Islam, right? It is not all, many tens of thousands terror attack happened in the since 2003. It is registered by Jihad Watch. Let's say half of them is not true. Let's say that. But then we are talking about still tens of thousands terror attack in the name of Islam. It is because of ideology. It's not because of defending their self. Attacking civilians, attacking everyone in the name of Allah, in the name of Prophet or Quran. Is it not enough to fear Islam? I think it is enough. But it's not only that. In 13 countries in the world, which have Islamic laws, there is a death penalty against critics of Islam. And in other countries, we are talking about one intolerant religion. In practice, we can see in many Muslim countries, right? And we are talking about one violent religion. This is Islam. And we can see the praxis, terror, and we can see the mob violence against minorities, violence and
Against
states
the women,
violence
against
against unbelievers or blasphemers, and
yeah.
we see the women's situation in the Muslim countries, and there is a lot of things, and the ideology of Islam,
This is not
supremacism.
only this
You
is
know,
not this is very important. Free speech in the West is being undermined very,
yeah,
very harshly these days by big tech, by even our politicians, by political correctness, and it's also being this these totalitarian regimes that have gone forward to have put this bill or resolution on the table. They are totalitarian countries who are who have proclaimed that they don't really believe in human rights. They have made their own OIC has made their own a version of human rights because the UN version of human rights was not good enough. So they made Islamic human rights, right? So they believe in other things than human rights. They believe in other things than democracy and freedom, and they're undermining our freedoms in the West. And states like Russia, Iran, China are actually helping and paying for propaganda against our freedoms in the West. This is also this is not only about criticizing religion. This is also about criticizing the way Muslim girls are being treated in the West by Muslim communities. This is about how homosexuals are being treated by Muslim communities. This is also about how the Jewish communities in Western countries are now at risk of terrorism because of Islamic terrorism and Islamic extremism. So we cannot talk about these things because we cannot talk about and criticize Islam. We cannot hate Islam. We have to love Islam. What is this? I mean, this is I, it goes against everything that the Western countries values and
yeah.
freedoms and democracy stands for. I am. It's mind blowing that
You
both the
know,
U.S.
you know, Islamophobia is actually produced by, of course, some of the or many Muslim countries, and they lobbied this in many years,
Yes,
more than
exactly.
10 years. We are hearing about Islamophobia, even we don't know what it is. They are turning everything, even critics of theology, to hatred of Muslims, like you are hating Muslims. It is nothing about that, but it is actually about protecting Islam against critic, because they know today we have internet, we have all books, and there are a lot of ex-Muslims, and there are a lot of religion critics in the world seeing the truth of Islam, and Muslims are leaving Islam. So in their country, like Pakistan and Turkey, Afghanistan, they can block internet even. They are doing this on social media platforms. They are closing pages and they are stopping
Yeah,
internet
yeah,
sites. They are
yeah.
doing that, but in the West they cannot. So what they have to do?
But they
They
but
are
they
saying
actually
that in the West there are racism, and in the
yeah,
West people hate Muslims and people want to hurt Muslims, or we calling this Islamophobia. And
yeah,
Western politicians are buying this very
yeah,
easily, and this is very dangerous because of let me just also play one video of modern times Voltaire, beloved Christopher Hitchens, warned us 13 years ago.
yeah.
Let us just hear.
This is very urgent business, ladies and gentlemen. I beseech you. Resist it while you still can, and before the right to complain is taken away from you, which will be the next thing. You will be told you can't complain because you're Islamophobic. The term is already being introduced into the culture as if it was an accusation of race hatred, for example, or bigotry, whereas it's only the objection to the preachings of a very extreme and absolutist religion. Watch out for these symptoms. They are just symptoms of surrender. very often ecumenically offered to you by men of God in other robes, Christian and Jewish and smarmy ecumenical. These are the ones who will hold open the gates for the barbarians. The barbarians never take a city till someone holds the gates open for them. And it's your own preachers who will do it for you, and your own multicultural authorities who will do it for you. Resist it while you can.
You see, we are too late. Resist while you can, he say. We are 13 years late, and now they are winning very easily. Like one writer there, it is UK politicians say free speech is good, but Arab oil and weapon deals are better. This is true.
But I don't think I don't think even it's about that. It's because political correctness
look at
is
Pakistan, right?
Yeah, political correctness is eating us alive in the West. Like every normal criticism of transgender issues or whatever. It's not only about Islam. It's about being that the social constructivism and the political correctness ideology, the identity politics, it's eating our democracy and our freedom of speech. And you know, when I started in politics or as an activist, I began with against the regime in Iran. And what we used to say maybe 10, 15 years ago was, Google and IBM and Nokia and other companies, please do not help Iran with the technological means to suppress the Iranian people. The internet censorship, even spying of of people inside who are opposing to the working against the regime in Iran. These tech companies would help Iran, right? Censor and spy on people, and we were saying, please do not help Iran. And now they are doing it towards us.
Yeah.
They're doing it towards our democracy in the West. They're doing it towards, big tech is closing our accounts, is demonetizing, is restricting free speech on every level, right? And this is so dangerous. And also they're doing it for people not to say harmful things they say, but it has been proven that by suppressing people like this, they will become more extreme. Now we have an extreme political environment in the West. People both on the left and the right have been, we have extremes on both ends, and extremism on both ends are, they're doing so good. And people who are normal and in the middle, and normally in the middle, they don't have any place to go because everything has become so polarized, and it's become polarized because of minority issues. And if you look at transgender issues, Islam issues, other issues, it's always about minorities. It's let's stop favoring minorities. Minorities should of course have their rights, but we should be able to also criticize minorities. And it's not hateful to criticize a minority that has a religion, which is that as atheists believe, it's just bad ideas, right? And if Islam has worse ideas than Christianity, it should be allowed to criticize Islam. Of course it should. And it has nothing to do with hatred of Muslims or fear of Muslims or prejudice against Muslims. It has to do with the ideas that Islam presents.
Yeah. And I just want to say hi to Rishwin Ismat. Hi, Rishwin. And Rishwin is the founder and leader of ex-Muslims of Sri Lanka. Rishwin know better than many other people how to be a blasphemer and how to be an ex-Muslim, even in a country where Muslims are minority, like in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
and I know how he had and how he still have. And he writes that when Islamists are in power, they use blasphemy laws to silence the critics. When they are not in power, they use Islamophobia to do the same job. The ultimate aim of the Islamist is to resist all the criticism of Islam by hook or crook. Totally agree. And this is what about. But on the other side, it's what is frustrating me mostly. We are talking about one country, like Trump said, shithole, Pakistan, for example. Pakistan is not a rich country. Okay, I understand a little bit when Western politicians are buying the term Islamophobia from oil-rich countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia. But what is about Pakistan and Turkey? These two countries had meeting many years ago and planned to combat against so-called Islamophobia. And they had meetings in Turkey, and they have invited many other Muslim leaders, and they started lobbying in the United States. You see Ilhan Omar in every country, just to make because they know how they can cheat the silly Westerners. Just say to them that Muslims are victim, they will do what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if West is honest, if UN is honest, firstly, we should have an assembly that say that combat against atheist phobia, combat against ex-Muslim phobia, combat against blasphemy phobia, because people are dying because of blasphemy in the many Muslim countries. We have thousands of examples, and these countries, let's see, and these countries like Pakistan coming with this idea, and the West is buying this. Just a second. Okay,
I don't know what the Western leaders are thinking. Iran says, I am hanging homosexuals because or I'm stoning women who are adulterous because of Islam. But I cannot say Islam sucks. Then if you say your Islam is stoning a woman or hanging a homosexual, then I cannot criticize that. I cannot criticize your Islam. That is actually what the Western leaders, our leaders that we that have the power in our countries, in the Western countries, are saying. They're saying you should shut up. You should not hate Islam, even when Islam is used to kill people, even when Islam is used to flag people or put them in jail and suppress them in every other way. You should just shut up because it's a religion and they have their rights. The religion has rights, right? This is the social constructivism. In Western democracies, in Western understandings, individuals have rights. Religions do not have rights. This is what we have to understand.
We have around 50 million Muslims in the West, just in Europe, not in the West. Sorry, in Europe, and in the United States, and in many countries. I have never seen that if some Muslim been murdered by some racist or someone terrorist, and later people are cheering for this killer. And we are talking a country like Pakistan, where if somebody kill some blasphemer, they are cheering, and they are holding him so up that it's crazy. Look at this, for example, a bank manager have been killed by one bank security, because of he has been accused to do blasphemy. And this country will say that Muslims are victims instead of look his country and how shit is it.
Yeah,
I get angry because of this happening every day. Many.
Are you sure? Or they're celebrating him?
Yes. And the guy in the blue
He's the murderer. Yeah,
He's
the
a murderer.
terrorist.
He just did it.
Yeah.
Look at him. Look at him. Allahu Akbar. And we are talking about Islamophobia.
Has he been jailed?
Sure, but sure. I think. I don't know, but this is just only one example, Jaleh. There is even students lynched and other students some years ago. Marshall Khan.
Also, you shared it. Also, there was another man who I think he was from Sri Lanka, actually.
Yes, burned.
Yeah.
And
it was a lynching, right? So it's hard to say who did it. It was everybody. It was a big group of people, maybe 100, 200, I don't know, maybe more people.
Yes, and we are talking about Islamophobia and like irrational.
This is crazy. Yes.
Look at this. Do you know what is this?
No.
This is because a Christian girl named Asya Bibi who had been in prison in many years, more than 10 years, because of she just drink water from a Muslim's cup, and it was blasphemy. And after a lot of pressure from the West, they released her. Actually, she got death sentences. And when they released her, then we see the reaction of the good Muslims. Look at that. And this country, and this country will teach the West, the UN, what is the human rights and how we have to protect religious beliefs and religions. This is a disgrace. I think it is really bullshit.
It is a disgrace. We should, everyone, like, I will try to get the Danish government to have to answer this. Why the hell have you agreed to or voted for this resolution? It doesn't make any sense. It's a disgrace, as you're saying. It's like, it's unimaginable that we could do something like this. The reality is even worse than what we could have imagined.
Like we have no reason to fear Islam, because Islam is peace, because of some I don't want to say bad words. Because some ignorant Muslims claiming that Islam is peace, but the reality, what we are seeing, what religious people doing in many Muslim countries. Of course, all Muslims are not like them, and thanks for that. But look, this I don't want to play even. This is the Farkunda in Afghanistan.
I remember.
This video is very brutal, and
I actually many years ago I shared this video because the media was not telling us about it, and I think even if it's so. I mean, I cried. I couldn't believe it. This was happening. This poor girl, she was said to have destroyed some Quran or something like that.
They accused her that she burned Quran.
Yeah.
And they lynched her, they killed her, and they burned her.
And you know what? Actually, they beat her. They beat her. They threw her off the roof.
And
they stoned her.
Police is there.
They stoned her, and then they burned her. Yes.
And and like we have no reason to fear Islam, like we don't need to criticize Islam because Islam is good. Which planet these people living in, actually I don't know, but if you burn Quran in a Muslim country like Afghanistan or Pakistan, then you will meet with this, right? But what if you burn Quran in Sweden? What happened then? It is not just a second. there.
عملوا كليك بعد ما لعبوا بالقرآن خنازير بعد ما لعبوا بالقرآن عم بيحموهن بعد ما خلصوا القرآن عم أخذوهن كلاب هدول كلاب متآمرين معاهن بتنجي الإسلام ليش جابونا هالكلاب
She asked, if you don't want Islam, why did you bring us here? You are the reason why we are not getting anybody else in. We don't want anybody else to come here. You are the reason.
Yes.
And your behavior, your religion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
the reason why the Western countries are opposed to, having people come here and work, even though we need the workforce, is because of your religion. Is because of people like you.
I
The
mean,
Swedes
I mean,
do
where
not
is
want you.
where is other demonstrations against like these things? Because this woman, these people, if they were in the Kabul when this woman had been killed and burned, they will do that. Because look at this is Malmö, just less than 1 hour
Away from me.
away from you. Yes, this is because of somebody protested and burned Quran. And we will not fear Islam. No, Islam is very tolerant. We will say this like this, and of course, we have to fight against hatred against all people.
But
okay,
yeah, but we also have to, we also have to have understanding about self-hatred. And the Westerners, they have self-hatred. They hate themselves. I mean, you have to understand when there are people who are against your way of life. You are giving up your way of life. You are giving up your democracy and freedoms for what? Look at what these ideas brought to the Muslim world. You want this to come to the Western countries? You want this more? I mean, you have it already in the Western countries. You want more of this? This is what you're opening up for. It's amazing. It's so sad.
This I mean, really, Jaleh, the most stupid thing that governments of the all Western countries, even using their time in making some rules or laws to combat against Islamophobia. What is Islamophobia? I mean, if this is a fear of Islam, like they say, yes, it's a logical and reasonable thing. And we have to really fear Islam if religious Muslims have power in some places. I just want to share some videos too, and I recommend that people, if they want to see some like these videos, they can go on YouTube, Ex-Muslims of Norway's YouTube channel, and look to the playlists.
Before you play, can I say just one
of
thing?
course, yes.
You showed the Farkonde video, right? The woman with the blood in her face.
Yeah.
I wrote about her in my book. The first, actually, yeah, both books, but mostly the first book about Islam. And what I wrote about was that when she was killed, it was just right after the terror attack in Copenhagen, where I was there, and I was so sad, and this happened. And I went to a demonstration that Afghani people in Denmark had held for her. I went, and I didn't know if I wanted to be a part of the protest or protest against the protest, because they were saying things like, she didn't burn the Quran. And if she did, she should be prosecuted in a court of law according to Sharia law. This was what they said. They never said that you have the right to criticize or do whatever to religion, burn the Quran or criticize, or even just offend the Quran, offend the Prophet. Blasphemy is not a crime. This should have been the point of the protest, but they were saying the opposite. They were saying, no, she did not burn the Quran. This is a lie against her. She did never do this. And if she did, she should have been prosecuted by Sharia law. This was a law student in Denmark who was talking in front of Afghanis and saying this. It was so shameful. And this is, of course, more secular Afghanis who were there. Almost no scarves, no hijab. It's so shameful that even the secular people, secular Muslims in Western countries are actually doing the work for Islamists.
Yeah.
This is such a...
And even atheist organizations, when they have seminars or they are talking in the public, first thing they say, we have to fight against hatred, racism. I know, my friend, if you are not against racism, then you are a wrong person. And we are anti-racist, we too.
Yeah, of course.
But why you are hesitating to criticize this ideology, this religion, which is belonging to the 7th century? And this is the problem in the West. What they did in the last many hundred years in the West against Christianity. Later I will read something. It's a surprise.
Yeah.
And in the same time, like Islamophobia, like you are Islamophobe and I'm Islamophobe right now because we are showing what Muslims do in the name of Islam, because we are showing what preachers, Islamic clerics says, which hatred they have against other religions and the West. Why showing these things make us Islamophobes? Instead of they will say, yeah, you are doing a good job, expose it. So just to play this one too. Jaleh, this should be, you see that the student killing his teacher because of insulting Islam. And only this thing, there is countries have death penalty against apostasy and blasphemy. This should be very, very enough to make some like application like they do now in UN, combating Islamophobia, combating apostasy phobia, combating blasphemy phobia, but there is nothing. And still these countries have power to do everything to increase our freedom of speech. Because when you search right now on Google about Islamophobia or about Islam, it is almost, there is no critical articles showing up. It was not like this before, and this is, I believe, only the beginning. In the future, in maybe this year or in some year, it will be only Muslim propaganda. Whatever you write Islam, they will come up some apologist saying some or sugarcoating Islam, and Islam is almost a democracy even, videos coming up. So it is we are on the wrong way.
What is different in the West compared to other countries? What is different in the free world, let's be honest, compared to other countries, is that we are free. We have democracy. We have a civilization. We have our values. We have the right to criticize whatever we want. Right? This is the main thing we have. Everything else comes from our right to say whatever we want. Right? Of course, we cannot threaten each other, threaten to kill each other, or do speak to do crimes and so on. Of course, there are limits, but there are no ideology, nor people, no anything we cannot criticize. And this is how it should be in a democracy.
Yeah, right. I
And
totally agree.
and we are very arrogant to think, and I think this is a problem of arrogance, because I think a lot of people are this arrogant. They think that our democracy and our freedom cannot go away, but we are throwing it away. We are ourselves throwing it away and giving Islamists power, giving totalitarian regimes power, with not standing up for our own freedoms. Even in the West, we have now, made it kind of illegal. This is a way of making it illegal. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
With this resolution, it is actually a way of making it illegal to criticize Islam.
They are
This
doing,
is throwing away our democracy, our freedoms.
and in the same time, a big problem there that there many people are couldn't see, I think, or can't see, or ignoring to see. Also they are contributing, like the West is contributing to stop Enlightenment age in the Islamic world.
Yeah.
Like they are contributing that. They don't like they don't want that Muslim people will have a chance to leave Islam if they want. So even social media platforms is contributing to
Yes.
that. Like today, Ridwan, the apostate prophet, is shared one video. It's a very short video. Just look at that.
Land, and you take because you refuse. I give you two good options in the coming 40-50 years, when the Muslims become strong as they're supposed to be. When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No. The Prophet says the first thing you do is call them to Islam. If they refuse, then tell them Allah obliged upon you to pay taxation. In return, when enemy comes and attack your country, you don't fight. We Muslims protect you. Subhanallah, for this little money? Yes. And you enjoy sitting in your homes and in your country and live your life normally. But the ruling is for Sharia. So you do not open nightclubs, you do not fornicate. If they refuse, then we have to fight. And if we fight you, then we capture you, you become our slaves, and we take your land, and you take because you refuse. I give you two good options in the coming 40-50 years, when the Muslims become strong as they're supposed to be. When Muslims go and conquer the adjacent country, what do? We kill them all? No.
Oh, it's again.
The Prophet says the first thing you do is
okay. You see, is this guy Islamophobe or we? This guy is a cleric living in the West, earning money.
He lives in the West?
Yeah, of course.
No, I don't think so.
No, many of them is in the West. I can show you. I believe this guy's
but they usually are lying when they're in the West. This is the truth. This is being honest. I don't think he's living in the West.
I will check it, but
because then he will get in trouble.
Okay, no, I can play you some other one who is in the living in the West. Yes, but I just want to say, this guy is simply saying that in 30-40 years, when Muslims have power, we will come, we will conquer your land, we will say to you, accept Islam. If you're, he of course he doesn't say everything right now, but he's saying the truth from theology. If you are a Christian or Jewish, you can convert to Islam. Now you can live like Christian or Jew, but you have to pay us that we can protect you from us. If you don't pay us, if you're atheist, if you're Hindus, because you have no choice, you have to convert Islam or die. We will enslave your children. We will take your money. This is he saying. And this is from Islamic theology, from Quran, from Hadiths. And this showing him here make us Islamophobe. But what is that? very
Actually, the reason why I'm not on Facebook anymore is
Yeah.
because I share something, what Islamist has said in Denmark, and they say you are promoting hatred. No. I'm telling you who is promoting hatred. But I was kicked off because I was showing hatred. So it's just amazing with the political correctness with this identity politics. It's going to ruin us.
All day I can play many videos that
Somebody says, I
Muslim-
think it's from Malaysia. It
Yeah,
is probably right. Yeah.
probably right. And many I can play many videos from clerics
Of course, yeah.
which are
Memory is
spreading
good.
hatred.
Yeah.
Yes, even memory, they so-called liberals and even atheist people, some atheist people, calling memory to be an Islamophobic. Why? Why? Because of they are translating what Muslims clerics telling us,
Yeah.
the world,
Yeah.
telling the
Yeah.
Muslims.
Yeah.
So like I say, all day we can play many, but this will be one of the last, I believe.
شكرا كورونا، هذا الوباء الذي نزل وهذا الوباء الذي عم، على الرغم من أنه وباء إلا أن فيه خير وعافية. لما ترك الناس الأمر بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر، جاءت كورونا لتأمر بالمعروف وتنهى عن المنكر، فأغلقت كورونا بفضل الله وبأمر الله، والذي سلط علينا هذا البلاء أغلقوا جميع الخمارات.
Basically, all this video we don't need to say, but he's thanking the corona that the corona
Has
is now
killed 6 million people.
Yeah, and stopping the West, especially the pubs, because in his country there is no pubs. And what a crazy religious
But also
people, what I can say.
a lot of Muslim people have died. This is also good because
No, but
people
he's
in
not
the
only-
West that drink alcohol.
And okay, just one more, because this is very important.
Even in the Quran, they say alcohol is permitted, but then they say it's not permitted.
Yeah, Islam is hypocritical religion. You can find anything contrary, And this one, I don't know. Have you seen this one? Going with the book, Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie on the street. Have you seen that in London?
No, I haven't. No.
How much the world has moved on, and assess the strength of feeling 30 years on.
I just want your opinion on something.
No,
that is.
No, it's rubbish.
Why is it rubbish?
Would people be willing today to have a discussion with me about the content of the book?
This book, no, I've never read.
Tell me what you think about this sentence. You don't want it. No problem.
Oh, is that Salman Rushdie?
It is.
Is that the Satanic Verses?
It is. Do you know it?
Yeah, I got a long history with that. I got arrested on them riots.
No way. So were you at the demo here?
Yeah.
What about the book burning? Did you see that?
I was here. Who are you? Have you read it?
I've read it.
Where are you from?
Where am I from? So I'm from Huddersfield.
Right.
Live in London.
Right. And how come you're holding the Satanic Verses?
Do you think I shouldn't be holding it?
I'm no comment.
So what you meant when you said where you from? You meant are you Muslim, didn't you? That's what you meant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would it make a difference if I was Muslim? I mean, I am Muslim. But you think as a Muslim I shouldn't be holding the book?
No. Let me see what the.
Will you read this then?
Yeah.
And will you tell me what you think?
Yeah. I will.
You're not going to get angry?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
There
How
we go.
many wives? 12 and one lady, old lady, long dead. How many whores behind the curtain? 12 again.
Does that mean anything to you?
Just follow Jaleh.
Yeah, he's a devil worshipper.
Devil worshipper.
The curtain is the curtain on the day of judgment that is lifted when you go to Dinga and the whores.
Soon we will be witness to Islamic tolerance.
The white, the Muslim is up in heaven.
That makes sense.
Is that what he's talking about? Yeah. Come and talk to me. Why you want to know?
You need educated, brother.
I need education. Come and
Educated,
talk
brother.
to educate me then. The author
Educated,
said it's a critique of religion. So that's useful.
Here we go. Oh!
Oh,
No way! Come on, then!
Come on, then. You fucking bastard.
Oh!
Come on,
damn.
Here's the book. Can I have my book back? Fuck you.
Bloody hell.
No, here's the book, no? Come on, then.
What the?
Fuck you. I'm going to burn this book.
You're gonna burn this book.
Don't film it. Fuck off.
An ordinary man.
Fuck yourself, nigga. Fuck you.
Whoa.
Walk out. Shut From my Rusty. Shut your mouth right now.
Oh, this is a rude boy.
I knew what the book was about.
Oh, shut up,
I'm
innit?
going to do bullshit with you. You're going to record it, put it over BBC Media.
BBC Media, innit?
I mean, you know you could be Bradford, okay, Muslim girl.
Okay, it's
Muslim
enough.
girl, yeah?
I think it's enough. But
I'm
you know,
so depressed.
this is London. You know, the tragicomic thing is that, and thanks to Vidi Witz, he's an ex-Muslim who made the video, and
I know him,
I think that this was not a Quran burning. This was a book. Any Muslim have read it. I don't believe. Of
They
course, I
haven't
can
read.
say any.
They haven't read it. It's like
Yeah.
this. They
Yeah,
haven't read it.
yes.
Of course they
Most of
haven't.
them. We can say most of them, and have no idea even what is writing in the book. And even this guy, if he go with Salman Rushdie's book in the Kabul or in Pakistan or in some other Muslim countries with the Sharia laws,
Yeah.
what will happen then? And what if this kind of Muslim mentality, I don't say every Muslim, but this man, it was like he was a very okay person, ordinary person, but suddenly became an arrogant, an intolerant person. And if we have a lot of like these people, and the other video which he said that in some 30 years we will conquer, what kind of West we will live in?
Already the fact that he cannot stand there and ask people questions without being threatened, without having his book, taken from him and so on. It's already, we have lost the tolerance that we had in the West, and free speech it needs tolerance. Free speech cannot live without tolerance. Tolerance is not about not saying what you feel because somebody might get offended. Tolerance is listening or ignoring or just accepting that people have other opinions than you. This is tolerance, and not being violent or threatening towards people that you don't like or you're not agreeing with. They don't have tolerance. This is the problems. This is the problem with Islamists, but actually also more than Islamists, almost normal, ordinary Muslims can get physical or be threatening towards others because they are insisting on discussing their religion. This is
exactly, Jaleh, and this is the biggest problem with Islamophobia, with Islam or immigration or anything, whatever. The freedom of speech.
My dog is barking.
Freedom of speech is not exist in Islam, and of course it's not exist in many other religions, because religions are usually totalitarian, and they have one truth, and this is what they are claiming. So how really? And we are forgetting that Islam have never been under critic in the last 1400 years. Only in the last 20-30 years after internet, now we are not free, but discussing and showing Islam. If I will say that if one thing is very phobic, and this is Islam, have phobia of LGBT, phobia of freedom of speech, democracy, human rights, women, many things. And but still, like, Muslims are victims, but critics like us, even, many critics, Islam critics in the West, have 24-hour police protection, like Ayaan Hirsi Ali, like Hamed Abdel Samed, and us, like, who are not very known critics, even we are living in special circumstances. Like, I know how you are living, and I know what I have and what I have to do, and many things.
Me too. Me too. I have a big dog. I have my, I have a plan for my security, and I have had for many years. And as the years have gone on, I have had to do more, and I have paid for it myself because I didn't get the state. The state would only threaten to remove my child because of my criticism of Islam. Yeah, I have paid for everything myself. I am very careful about a lot of things, and I have my security, and I know that anyone who really wants to do what I do have to do the same, right?
Oh,
So
like we have to think twice if you
Mhm.
want to be an ex-Muslim activist, or if you want to criticize Islam with Muslim background, which we have. Then like we have to think twice, even or not twice, thrice actually,
Mhm.
when we are even living in the West. So I mean that people have to wake up, special politicians, and and uh, and take the real problems. Of course, we will protect every people. Every people can believe whatever they want, and every people have right to not believe and right to criticize anything they want. And so, making like Islamophobia like a special case for states in the West means that firstly they want to increase freedom of speech. They don't want Islam critics. They want to label people as racist and have anything to do with actually criticizing a religion or ideology. And in the same time, unknowingly, like I said, they are contributing a lot to against enlightenment age in Islam. And
True.
this I just want to say, and yes, and one thing,
Yes.
yeah,
It is frightening, and we have to have our politicians wake up from this fairy tale of an understanding where everyone wants the same. A lot of people, I've been in politics, and I've been an activist, in the as a commentator in Denmark for many years, and people, when I talk about Islam, they say, you know what, all people want the same things in life. No, it's not true. All people do not want the same things in life. There are people who would sacrifice their children for their religion. Uh, they would kill their own children. Do you think they're going not to? I mean, do you feel safe that that there are people inside our country that would kill their children in to sacrifice their children in fighting against the non-believers, or in jihad and so on? These people exist. Of course, this is the extreme part of Islamists. These are jihadis, right? But the mentality, the ideas, the religion that inspires this and wants this from Muslims. These are bad ideas. We have to be able to talk against them and criticize them. This is a
yeah.
a
And
normal part of
here you see
democracy.
Kari Anne Sherset writing very right, and I agree. Very few are Islamophobic, but as soon as you criticize Islam, you are called out as Islamophobic. Strangely, the same does not apply if you criticize
Apply.
any other
Yeah.
religion. But here is just a little bit problem. So I mean that Islamophobia is a wrong term. If we
Yeah, of
put
course,
there,
because yeah.
let's put there racist. Very few are racist against Muslims, we can say. But as soon as you criticize Islam, you are called out as racist. You see, then they will be exposed. They will say, "What the heck? What we are doing?" But when you
Why
put
aren't they calling it
Islamophobia,
Muslamophobia? Call it
yes,
Muslimophobia.
yes,
Call it that. You don't want us to criticize your bad ideas, your religion. This
yeah,
is what it's about. And you know what? The reason why even Islamists, they're not ready to discuss their own religion with non-believers and others. It's because they have very bad arguments for their
yeah,
religion, as does the political correct people, the identity politic people, the woke people. They don't have any arguments. They only have the shame the shame, shaming of other people, calling people Islamophobic, transphobic, homophobic, bigots, women haters, and so on, because you don't want to take the discussion. Often it's because of that, right? Often it's not because people are transphobic or homophobic or Islamophobic or whatever, even Muslimophobic, but they don't want to take the discussion about Islam, about transgender people, about homosexuals, because it's easier to shame people, and they don't want to know. It's very black and white. It's actually how I saw the world. When I was young, I saw the world like that. Because I was young, I was stupid. I didn't go into, understanding the whole picture of things. It's very black and white for the wokes, for the political correct people. And it's because a lot of them are young people, right? They shouldn't be able to shame me, who is from Iran, who you are from Turkey. They shouldn't be able to say, you should shut up because criticizing Islam is racism. It's not, my dear. It is not.
The other thing is, generalizing. Actually, most of Islam critics with Muslim background or not, like Western critics too, never generalize all Muslims are like this. They do never. But the apologists, Islam apologists, and the so-called some liberals and who are sporting Islamophobia term, they are generalizing. Actually, they are like if you say something, criticize Islam, or if you can criticize some mullahs too, clerics too, priests too, and this have been in the West all the hundreds of years, and no one being called racist or Christian haters. Look, for example, it took me just less than 1 hour to find some of comments from Enlightenment philosophers of the West, from Voltaire, Rousseau, Friedrich Nietzsche, Spinoza, David Hume, Sigmund Freud, Thomas Paine, and these guys, only these guys, I just take it. Now, this is like an experiment. Imagine if Voltaire, Spinoza, Nietzsche, Thomas Paine live it today. And if they say it, what they said in their time, if they say it to the Islam today, we will call them racist and haters. Look at that. Now I'm changing only Christianity with Islam, because they say it about Christianity, Christians, Bible, and Jesus, okay? And clerics. And I'm changing, I will read their statements, and I will change.
As if it was about Muslims.
I will change Christianity with Islam, Jesus with Muhammad, Bible with Quran, and priest with mullahs. Christianity is the more... No, I will change. Sorry. Okay. If I say Islam is the most ridiculous, the most absurd and bloody religion that has ever infected the world, Voltaire. The Quran is what fools have written, what imbeciles comment, what rogue teach, and young children are made to learn by heart. Muhammad preaches only servitude and dependence. True Muslims are made to be slaves. Wow, Rousseau. In Islam, neither morality nor religion come into contact with reality at any point. Nietzsche. Plainly, Muslim believers are but triflers who, when they cannot explain a thing, run back to the will of Allah. This is truly a ridiculous way of expressing ignorance. Spinoza. No reasonable person can believe in Islam. Wow, very hateful. No reasonable person can believe in Christianity, actually, he said.
And I think it's a good point. And also, but I actually...
sorry, you know what have shocked me? Friedrich Nietzsche said, after coming into contact with a religious man, I always feel I must wash my hands. Think if we say that, because he said to the Christian people. after coming into contact with a religious Muslim, I always feel I must wash my hands. This is too much. But even this have been accepted. Friedrich Nietzsche is one of the biggest Enlightenment philosophers, because these
And
peoples we
also,
have.
can I say,
Yeah.
even if people are racists, I want to know that they're racist. I want the free speech to also give Islamists and racist people. Of course, there is a limit. If they're threatening people, if
Yeah.
they're threatening with violence and so on, that must be stopped, right?
Yeah.
But if they're not threatening, they're just talking about their ideas, I think that it should be allowed. And I want to know if somebody is an Islamist, or I want to know if somebody is a racist, because I want to talk with them and have them understand that they have the wrong ideas. This is what Democrats should be fighting for. We want people to change if they're extreme, if
Yeah.
they have extreme views, either on the left or the right, or extremist religious people. We want them to come back to normal democratic way of thinking and behaving. So we want free speech even for those people who are extremes. But this is the opposite what we are seeing today with the political correctness, with the identity politics, wokeness, all of this big tech that is censoring free speech is going the wrong way. It's taking or even ordinary people who are not extremists and telling them they're extremists, telling them they're hateful, telling them they should be ashamed of themselves, they're Islamophobes, they're transphobes, they're so on and so forth. Instead of saying, even if you're racist, you should be able to have a Facebook profile and come with your ideas, and then you will meet better ideas.
Yeah.
This is the way to meet better ideas, meet better arguments, and then maybe, just maybe, you will think twice about your bad ideas and you will change. This is
Yeah.
what happened to me, right? Because I was believing in socialism and I saw the world very black and white, and by discussing with other people, by thinking about things, by discussing and thinking about things, I changed. So have many other people. So we should not be unforgivable, not unforgivable, unforgiving. As a society, as an open, free society, we should be forgiving, right? Maybe some racist will not be racist tomorrow, but that doesn't mean you should expel them from society. You should actually discuss with them, because if they're racist, you probably have better ideas and better arguments. You should argue with them, right? This is what we want, I think.
Parto Sarkar says how we can combat the concept of Islamophobia. It's a good question. Like you say, I believe, free speech is the most dangerous enemy of Islam, and also other
bad ideas.
bad ideas, yes, because
Yeah.
We have to protect free speech, and even we have to expand it. We have to fight anything which threat our freedom of speech in the West, and we have to help other countries to build their to give them free speech, because free speech is like like I said, people have called Christianity a disease. People like Voltaire, people like Thomas Paine said that Bible is a word of demons, not a God. These people we are adoring in the West, in academia, in the universities. They are the philosophers of Enlightenment age, because of they are today Christianity have no such a power, can punish people. Not long ago, only 300 years ago, in the middle of the Paris, a young boy have been tortured and killed by authorities because of he just spitted an holy statue, not even an and this is the reason why Voltaire start fight against church and Christianity. And this in the same time in Germany and everywhere, blasphemy laws they had in the West too, and it was dangerous as like Muslim blasphemy laws. But today West have mostly get rid of these laws, so we have to fight Islamic blasphemy laws and we have to protect our free speech, and speak clearly, loud and loud against concept of Islamophobia, because this is absurd and this is bullshit. I believe this is only what we can do. But our corrupt politicians, which are whom are doing almost all the time wrong politics and collaborating with dictators, they are jumping from one to another. That they are now seeing that, oh my God, what we did now, we have collaborated with Putin. He is a dictator. Oh, good morning. Then let's go to the Qatar or Saudi Arabia and do some business deal instead of Russia.
Putin is showing the West how dangerous he is, even though he doesn't have an ideology like Islam is, right? He doesn't even have an ideology that wants to destroy, and it's not it's just a hatred towards the West, right? But Islam is, and the Iranian regime is more unpredictable. It's more ideological, extreme, and so on. So you want to make a deal with them, right? And you have to understand that these people do not think the way we think, do not operate the same way we think. They don't even negotiate the same way we do. That is why we cannot trust them, right? So we have to understand that we are different. All people do not want the same things in life, and this is a big misunderstanding.
Before we close, Jaleh, the last points we can get. Like, I want to say, really, at the Islamophobia is a term and concept created by Muslims and Islam apologists to protect Islam against critique. This is the reason. Whatever they say about racism or making Muslims like victim, this is those are another topics. So the main reason is this, and they are afraid, and they are really afraid that atheism and deism is coming like tsunami in the Muslim world, thanks to the internet. But now they are using all their power, and they are even convincing Western politicians to increase freedom of speech for the Westerners and for the Muslim people via social medias and internet. So we have to fight.
The UN used to be a place where Western countries would try to get third world countries to be more democratic, more more adherent to human rights and so on. Now it's the opposite. It's the third world countries trying to make the Western world more like them. It's crazy what we are seeing.
But in any case, I believe that common sense, I hope, will win all the time. So there is a
but it's not for sure. I love it that you're optimistic, but it's not for sure, because if you look at history, a lot of great civilization, they were destroyed. It's not, and look at Islam, for instance. It has been alive for 1400 years. Such bad ideas have been, winning for 1400 years. It's amazing. If you go and study Islam, it's amazing that these bad ideas have been able to exist. But it's because of the violence, because of the suppression, because of the wars and so on, that it's not been arguments. It's not been tolerance and argument.
Jaleh, I said that because, although that many Westerners are naive, but I believe they know that Islam is a bad idea. That they have a fear of Islam, but in somehow they are also afraid of racism. You're right, and they are taking like Muslims like victim. But if we come to one point one day that Islam gives some consequences, like for Westerners, for their life, for their freedom of speech or what they will eat or not, or in anything, then they will react. But maybe then is too late, like you say. So maybe we don't need to be optimistic. But the fear of Islam is a reality, and existed, and many people have experienced it in their country via Islamic terror, and we are still witnessing in the Muslim countries what's happening there, where Islamic law is established. So
Yeah,
this I will say.
I do agree.
Okay, then
There is a person who is asking me, I think because I said I am a good person, I would go to heaven if God exists. And then she's asking, but there is more to being a good person. Have you stolen? Have you lied? I haven't stolen. I think I stole a grape when I was a child. One grape. Have you lied? Probably, yeah, many times. Have you looked at another person in lust? Yeah, many times.
what's
But if
that?
that's the definition of why you should send me to hell, then I'll be in hell.
Yeah, you know, this is like you know, okay, we go back to the atheism there again before we close. You know, like, you know, what they think before Islam there was no moral, or before Christianity, or before Judaism. What they
Yeah.
think? They think that after Abraham we became, we have moral, that we, you know, then they don't know what's empathy. They don't know what's
Yeah.
golden rule. They don't know that consequences, the real consequences in this world.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we are many people still doing wrong things,
Yeah.
although we have consequences, established consequences that we know what's
Yeah.
the punishment. But they are saying that if we do that, or if we not do that, we will be punished in a hellfire in some places. We don't know where, but we will not have body too. I don't know. But this is, you know, bullshit. if somebody is a good person because of that their books telling them if they don't do they will be punished, then they are not good people in any case. And then we say see you next episode. And today it was good to see you again, Jaleh.
For the love and for the hate in the comments. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes,
subscribe and like and all of those things.
Yes,
if you're living in Denmark or in Norway, you can buy my books. I will just you can go to my website. It's my name.
Yes,
yeah.
I will put the link in.
Yeah, and Jamal has Jamal's organization Exit Muslim. They have really good shirts. I have a lot of your shirts. So
I will bring with me when I come to Denmark.
Yeah. Yes. Go buy his shirts, and thank you.
And happy Atheist Day, and protect free speech. This is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.